and they were living in that place. They still had offices on 8th Avenue, but they would just come one by one to see counselors, and so they were all isolated from the theater district. I mean, the important thing was get these kids off the street at 6:30 at night, because the people from Connecticut and New Jersey see them, and you know the rest of the story. So they got that. Okay, the funny thing about this now is that that building has there been used, and then finally Covenant House purchased that building, and it was still a rundown place. It was a part of a college was next door, and it was, oh yeah, they used it, this building was used for a treatment center for drug addicts. And then that program didn't work, and so it was empty, so that's why they got it. And then but still, so it was a rundown, so there were actually, so to speak, drug addicts living in that. So there was a church across the street. 2 years ago, I was invited to come. They tore that building down that I worked in for 25 years, and they put up an 8-story high-class building for 200 homeless kids to live in there. And right across the street, there is a 40-foot high-rise. And so homeless kids are right in the mix of one of the best places in New York City. But they're all within a building. And, you know, and so, you know, I suppose some of this is saying this is what Stephen's wanting. So when this guy out of nowhere said that he wants to get that building from Walmart and have the homeless there with counselors and regular program, okay. If they come and ask me, am I going to tell them all this? No. All I'm going to say is that this so-called little problem is not the only problem. Father Finian, who worked here for 2 years, came in every Tuesday, he said in Oakland, where his sister lives, and he goes out there, he said Oakland had the same problem, and the city of Oakland gave him a whole place fenced in with some places, tables and stuff like that. And now it's not freezing out there all the time. And so that's how Oakland, they just gave him space away from the regular downtown area. And maybe that's what the city has got to do here. I thought of this place, but see, you need millions of dollars to do that. Covenant House's budget in New York City, they got almost close to 150 staff people around the clock, but their budget is close to $90 million for a year. You know, just to staff people and to have that full-class building. But there, the population, it was huge, and the motivation for it was they didn't take in people that were 21 years old. They said 18, 19, and 20, because you still got a chance of helping people. See, the point here was that, what is it? Perennials. Homeless people are perennial. They just keep popping up every year. They will never die. They just want. I wish they would talk to Eric. Well, you know, just quickly, the other thing is that I really want to propose, I don't know when, but this is going to, even before this starts coming up with, is 5 years ago I got these books about the original hermit. It's the story about a guy in New England that hid for 25 years right next to a summer camp in an enclosed area, and he built his own house there, and he would go out of that house behind a big rock so nobody could see him if they were walking. And it took 25 years for the police to find out that every night he would go out of his little hidden place and go into where the food was in the campgrounds, and he would take what he needed, and nobody ever saw him until finally they caught him. Okay, and he'd done that for 25 years.
That's funny, though.
Well, it's funny. I got the books, and I was going to, first of all, I was just going to ask a few of you and a few of the homeless to go out where the cultural grounds is and read that book. But now I would rather that the chief of police, together with Troy, would sit down and read this book with 4 or 5 homeless, not with yourselves, but with Eric. And because the book ends that this guy, he had a good job, but somehow he wanted to just isolate himself, and he started living in there. And now after he was caught, they were going to put him in jail, but he paid whatever he took from there That's chief of police? Oh my gosh, okay. What's his name? Kevin?
Bob Cuso.
Bob Cuso. Okay, Bob Cuso. Okay, I mean, so, I mean, the book has been out 5 years, so it's a bestseller. But at the end of it, he does say there are some people that cannot socialize. And his brother took him into his house after this whole 27 years, and he had a good job. He had mechanics, and he could have made money. And so he's working with his brother now. I mean, I haven't followed up the story, but I think when they use the word perennial, something has to be honest about that. I mean, if Tiffany apparently at the meeting that you were at said it's a lifestyle, and lifestyles don't change for a lot of people. Is that what she said there?
I don't recall her saying that. Troy kept referring to it as a lifestyle.
Oh, he did. Okay, not
He
Tiffany.
did. That came from Troy, not
What-
Tiffany.
what did Tiffany say?
I never heard Tiffany say that. Tiffany, the only thing one thing I remember Tiffany saying was that, you know, it's illegal to be homeless now. You know,
Okay.
I mean, making it, and I've heard that from other people in stuff I've watched on YouTube about homelessness generally anywhere in the country, is that, you know, a lot of people feel that they're trying to make it illegal to be homeless. You know, they keep,
They're trying to make it illegal.
Yeah, trying to make it
But it's
illegal to
not
be
illegal
homeless.
now, is it?
well, it's not illegal, but the way that they're like, you know, they're gonna, talking about, like the police chief at this meeting was talking about, talking to the city attorney and seeing what they can do about the loitering ordinances, the loitering laws. So they may come to something where the police are going to be, you know, either ticketing people for loitering or, you know, breaking up people that are loitering or whatever. So in a sense, that's almost making homelessness illegal, because homeless people tend to be, you know,
Gregarious.
out loitering.
Okay,
you know, so-
and are they gonna do that in front of Troy's bar, graffitis, when the college kids come back and they go inside and
Right,
get their drink?
sure.
And then they loiter in the square?
Yeah, so how do you
So they'd have to arrest
differentiate,
them.
how do you differentiate between somebody who's,
Socializing and,
you know, they could be out here sitting on a bench. Sometimes I go out on the bench on a nice day and soak in some sun or soak in,
Well-
you know, enjoy the weather, you know, but I'm not homeless. But if a person was sitting there, they happen to be homeless, that was doing it, how do you differentiate between a person who's just out there enjoying sitting outside in a homeless person? So do you say then that the homeless person is loitering? You know, am I loitering if I go out there? You know, I mean, so that's why he's got to check with the city attorney to see,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
you know,
sure.
I mean, because it's got to pass muster with the attorneys for the city as to how they would go about, but the message is clear. They're targeting the homelessness. That's the problem. The business community has identified a problem. The homeless people are out there. We don't want them there. They're bothering our business. We would rather they not. That's the problem. So then they engage the police department, because the police department, that's what police do. They protect the money. They protect the people that have the money. So they're going to be involved in trying to solve this problem. So, you know, in a way, I mean, you know, what Tiffany says is true. And, you know, a lot of places are trying to make, a lot of places around the country are trying to make ordinances, you know.
You know the angriest thing, before I go, the thing that made me really mad about that video is that when the police officer said that, you know, we offer them programs or help, you could say, that he was referring to, but yet again, don't.
I'm turning this off.